unconventional.
I'm a fan. Active Aggression as a singleton, it can randomly steal a game, and then it's not going to be, generally speaking, a dead card, and you're not going to get clogged up with like several of them. If you've got like 2 of them and you got 2 Active Aggressions in your hand, you can feel kind of dumb. 1 Active Aggression, unless you're super low on cards, it never really feels like it's getting in your way.
Right. I kind of like it just against the piked creatures that Delver is playing right now, because it's important to note that when you Active Aggression the creature, the pike still belongs to the Delver player, counts their graveyard, not yours. I've been in awkward spots where I had to play around Active Aggression with a pike before.
Turn 2, we get the first real action with Strangleroot Geist.
That's a good card against the zombie deck, assuming he doesn't have a Pillar of Flame, which is in his sideboard.
Zombie turn 2, Blood Artist, anything?
He kept in with no 1-drop, so I assume he's got a reasonable 2-drop. I don't like... Mortar Pod's not that good.
Mortar Pod's okay.
I think you can keep the no 1-drop Mortar Pod hands on the play in this matchup, but on the draw, they are yucky.
And he appears to be taking that damage rather than making the Strangleroot Geist get a little bigger.
I agree with that choice in general. And Blade Splicer, one of the biggest enemies of the Zombies player. I almost said Goblin, I don't know why.
Blade Splicer, I think, is one of the biggest enemies of decks that attack on the ground. It's just... It's really hard to fight through. And Blood Artist.
Okay. Where are you going with that? I'm thinking he may have a slip here and be planning to go like Pod the Splicer, slip the token, which is a reasonable line. Gains him 3 life, Lightning Bolts the opponent.
2 life for now.
Yep. Yep, that's
just
our
as
line.
you said, just as you said.
Man, in their heads here. Didn't even see the hand for that one. That was just off the cuff.
Do 3, gain 3. Blood Artist getting some work done there. And O-Ring your Artist in for 2.
That is not the most efficient answer to a Blood Artist, but it is an answer.
That is one of 2 precious Oblivion Rings from Michael Lee.
His removal suite consists entirely of those 2 Oblivion Rings and 3 Dismembers.
Dismember is awesome.
Awesome spell, and his Birds of Paradise can even occasionally save him some damage. Matt has 4 lands, but no play? Was that a pass? No. A pass. We kept real loose, I think, here. We're an aggro deck, and we don't have any creatures with power. And it's turn 4.
Oh, the Sword. I predict a
awkward.
Doomblade. Or a lot of pain.
I predict nothing that we should be happy about. Dismember? Yep.
It does it. I mean...
It's not pretty, but we're not getting beat up just yet. And that was a Brimstone Volley, I believe he just drew. Maybe a Dragon Skull Summit, actually. I'm not sure.
I thought I saw a Brimstone Volley.
I thought I did too, but I've been wrong before. Phyrexian Metamorph on Strangleroot Geist, a fine choice. We'll go ahead and equip. A reasonable choice. Interestingly, he can sacrifice his Metamorph and bring it back as a Mortar Pod to kill the guy before the sword gets equipped, but I guess we're not doing that.
He might not have seen it.
To be fair, his opponent did play Gavin Township, but yeah, maybe. Gavin Township would make that line like atrocious. I think we might be thinking about it now. No, we're just going to take the hit. I think it's reasonable to take the hit. Our hand's pretty small. We're just hurt, not, killed. Plus, wouldn't it be sweet to have a Mortar Pod that had a +1/+1 counter on it?
And the bird takes over.
Yep. We're on 6 life against 17, and we have a 3/3. I'd say we're in great shape. What do you think? What do you think?
Attack. Block, he says.
Well, our guy's I'm confused. Or, I'm sorry, our guy is a 2-2. I did misremember. Our guy is not a 3-2 like the Strangler-Geist on the other side of the board. But after we get blocked, we're just going to sacrifice our guy to deal a point. Come back as, I assume, a bird, maybe?
I don't know.
He may have come back as a bird to avoid dying to the sword. That seems kind of likely. We volleyed that Strangler-Geist.
And then there should have been a mortar pod there to finish off the bird, I think. But
yeah, I agree with that. I think we're not maximizing our Metamorph here. And if that was our play to volley the Strangler-Geist, why wouldn't we have just volleyed it on the previous turn?
okay, a very expensive land being played there. Oops. Oh, there we go.
That should pretty much lock things up here. I don't
A Metamorph on Thragtusk would be okay.
Yeah, I think we could have saved a lot of damage here, but to be honest, without any creatures, it's really hard for a zombie deck to kill anybody. So I do find it curious that while Phyrexian Metamorph is kind of cheating, we did actually go through this game without playing a single power in creature.
It's true. I mean, if we look at all of the cards in the graveyard for Matt Carlson, there is 0 power.
Yep. Our Thragtusk has left the field, and another Thragtusk! Oh! This game's real close.
And to the sideboard.
Yeah, I don't think I like our keep with Matt's choice there. Too much removal, not enough action. The purpose of removal in the zombie deck is to clear the way for your creatures.
Yeah, once you start shifting into playing control-ish, you can do it, but just not very well.
Yeah, you can do it against Delver sometimes. That's a matchup where you actually have a stronger long game than they do, assuming you play your cards correctly. I like playing Zombie as the control deck in the Delver matchup. But the white-green aggro matchup, you're not well suited.
How many creatures is that? That's most of the deck is creatures.
Yeah.
Okay, to the sideboard, I think we're going to definitely see Pillar of Flame come in for Matt Carlson. That seems like a very reasonable card to bring in. And I kind of wonder if you want to bring in Geth's Verdict or not. I'm not sure. You're dealing with another creature deck. That's usually most for giant monsters. And this is not a giant monster deck.
I don't like the Verdicts. There's so many cards that give your opponent an ability to not lose much value. Like a Bird of Paradise on turn 1 automatically makes any following Geth's Verdicts more unwieldy. Blade Splicer all by himself is awkward.
The reason I don't know that I would want to put it in, but the reason I think Matt Carlson might is he seemed like he was leaning just to being a control deck.
Yeah, I mean,
and he might think that that's what he has to do. I don't know.
If that is very, very much a possibility when someone gets tracked into the wrong idea, basically.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't want to be a control deck in this matchup. I'd kind of want to be just having a little bit of a presence on the board, and then just try to keep that going. Keep my presence on the board going. Have it be more mid-rangey.
I like the conscripts, I think. In this matchup, they can be pretty swingy. They can also do some neat stuff like unbond a Wolfear Silverheart.
Right.
Can come in handy. I generally like the card just because it's kind of difficult to play around and people aren't very good at doing it. I also could see bringing in like 1 Smelt, because I don't think you'll be unhappy to draw 1. Gives you an out to a sword that gains a ton of tempo. And in a pinch, you can even just clear a Golem token, which you're almost certainly going to have to be playing against.
I wouldn't want to run more than 1 Smelt.
Yes, I agree with that.
Yeah. Active Aggression actually is a card I really like against Thragtusk decks.
Oh yeah, it's excellent, especially if you're going to keep your Mortar Pods in, which I assume you would since your opponent has... if you're not keeping Mortar Pod in this matchup, where are you keeping it in,
I really think that there was a lot of moments of lost efficiency that Matt could have done to make this game go far more his way. He still would have been in a lot of bad shape, but...
Yeah. He could have definitely avoided the big sword hit that brought him down to single-digit life with the Mortar Pod Phyrexian Metamorph play. That would have been pretty huge. And then from there, he just needs to draw a creature to dismantle the Birds of Paradise, which he didn't do, but had he done that... Both players cheery after our first game, jibing back and forth. Perhaps Michael also noted that Matt never played any power.
It's weird. I mean, if I were to have watched that, except for the Mortar Pod... Oh, that's not true. There are 2 cards. Blood Artist and Mortar Pod gave up the Ghost. But, I mean, it didn't feel like Matt was the deck that he is.
Yeah.
Yeah, Blood Artist says a lot, so...
it says that he lacks the creatures.
For those of you who are just joining us, I'm Adrian Sullivan, and no, that is not the dulcet tones of Joey Pasco. It is Glenn Jones. Who? Glenn Jones, right here with me. We are at Star City Games Open Series here in Denver, Colorado. This is SCG Live. You can tweet to us at SCG Live. Join in the conversation, all just in general. Hashtag SCGDEN. And you can wave over to Michael Lee if you want. He won't see you, but you can see him.
I saw a Razorverge Ticket and a Birds of Paradise from Michael Lee, so that's already a pretty good hand.
Look at this. It's about 3,000 times better than it was last game. It's a turn 1 creature for Matt Carlson. Now, kill the elf. I know it's a bird, but the game is kill the elf.
Yeah, we want to kill this because it'll shut down a Blade Splicer potentially on turn 2, which is one of the worst cards our opponent can play. We're quite afeared.
And he does not. Did
we have a way to kill it?
Oh, and no drop. Unusual for no 3 there.
Yeah.
He could have a wolf. No, he does not have it. I thought I saw Avenger, but there's not an Avenger. It's a Silverheart in the deck.
Yeah, I think I saw an Angel in his hand, but not much else. Now, if he can kill the bird now, it would be a very excellent time to do so. It looks like he's Sign and Blooded. Come on, Tragic Slipper Pillar. Come on, Tragic Slipper Pillar. He drew a Torpor Orb. Ooh, I believe he has actually potentially misjudged his opponent. He might think that Michael is on some kind of Birthing Pod deck, but that is not the case. Torpor Orb shuts down a couple of cards.
Wow, Michael Lee.
Not many.
Angel back. It's a fine play.
I'm amazed that this bird made it to this turn. I have to be honest.
It was just like sitting there whistling.
Yep.
If it had thumbs, it would have been twiddling them.
Matt's no fool. He recognizes his opponent might have an Angel here. He's going to go ahead and play his Torpor Orb. Well, take that, Birds of Paradise. You're not untapping. Well, I guess you are. I don't see a reason to do that.
Okay, I really want Doomblade right now.
Yeah, there was no real reason to play the Angel here. Just kind of like gave away that we had it, even though Matt seemed to be.
He's here I come. Yeah, like, whatever. These guys come back
for sure anyway, but you know, why give it up?
He just takes it. Doesn't want to have a burn spell finish off the Angel.
The funny thing here is I guess he's playing around, a shock, but if his opponent had a shock, Pillar Flame or whatever, he would have certainly cast it on the first 3 turns of the game.
Sword on the Angel. Is there a Doomblade in the house?
No such luck.
I think it's going to be a quick 2-0 for Michael Lee.
Yeah, it looks like it. This is, again, Matt's just positioned wrong. In this case, he's positioned better. But I don't think he should have sideboarded in Torpor Orb in this matchup. It shuts down Angel, Thragtusk, and Splicer.
But not even very much.
Silverheart. But yeah, like, those cards are still good against you, like, other than Splicer. That one's pretty poor. And you had to give up 2 mana and a card, and if they don't have those cards, like...
Yeah, it's the classic threat theory, answer theory.
In this case, the answer is very... It's not even a full answer, you're answering like 40% of the card. Maybe in Thragtusk case you're answering like slightly more. I don't know. Maybe you're straight up coin flipping. Angel's ability is not very good in this matchup unless it's being used in combination with a Blade Splicer or Thragtusk. So the Torpor Orb sort of plays like redundant duty in that role.
But the leave playability is triggering still, I don't know.
Yeah.
Metamorph! What you got? What you metamorphing?
I have no idea.
Wow, I guess it's the Angel. I would not have minded seeing that Metamorph copy the sword.
Oh yeah, we don't get to
and then put the sword on top of one of those zombies.
Yeah, doing that before combat seemed like pretty good.
Oh, another game. We can do that some other game.
Matt is not copying non-creatures like at all. I almost question if
He's like, do I got you dead?
Yeah.
Not really. You don't.
I mean, this is pretty good. We played a land that we didn't need to here, I guess, but whatever.
That's it. Tosses it down, 2-0.
I think this game was within our reach, to be totally honest.
Yeah, I think that game could have gone some other direction as well.
If we had that Brimstone volley that he threw down at the end there, we could have just attacked our Gravecrawlers into the potential Angel and then volleyed it down once it blocked. That would have been a much better use of that particular resource. I don't know if he had the volley.